to the panel. Now we're going to delve into the fine art of dodgy wiring. Yes, don't go by what used to be in there. No, that's not happening again. But anyway, yes, I've been just trying to work out where I'm going to put the wires, and it's going to be fun. So we've got to that stage now where we're going to have to get a bit technical. No, we're not. There is one thing I will say though. The way I wire this panel is for me and me only. However you wire your panel, that's down to you. You bugger it up or set fire to yourself, that's not on me. Okay, just one little disclaimer, it's how I do it, that's as far as it goes. You mightn't agree with the way I've done it, that's your opinion, but this is the way I'm doing it. Kinda worked on that one, just messy, so I'm doing it with this one now. So we got that crap out of the way. We'll get wiring. Not looking forward to this. This is going to take a while, but anyway, let's get stuck in. We'll have a wee look what I've done so far, or in a wee catch up, and we'll go from there. I think that's the best thing. Okay, so catch up. We now have the live buzz bar in. We now have the neutral buzz bar in, the earth buzz bar in, and we have the out exhaust fan and intake. We tidy base put there and there. We know that these are now what do you call it, chip paste or grease, whatever that stuff's on it. What you didn't see, I've now budge points, mounted the fan onto the element controller and stuck a couple of for here. I must do some more up here. I think I'll put some in between here, so we'll come out, through and up and across, and then we'll come down in stages, and rather than just, we'll come down in I think 2 stages, rather than just trying to feed it all up to one point and go through, because I think it'd get a bit messy. But that's the plan. So roughly you can see where I'm going. I haven't stocked these yet, they're just sitting here. I'm just going to try and not stick them down just yet. I'm just going to run a couple of wires and see if it's going to work. At least that way I can then just think, well, no, it's not going to work that way. So just another wee look at the front. It's coming along nicely. So let me start feeding some wires and we'll be back. Right, that noise in the background is absolutely pissing it down outside. But anyway, as you can see, tails will be cut off these once everything's buttoned up. But we have the 3 lives, neutrals. There's only one wire left, earths, on the 3 transformers. So they're coming in a bit of a zigzag fashion up into the earth buzz bar. I don't know, that's everything that has to be earthed. Yes, everything else is 2-wire. That works okay. So looks like I'm on to live and neutral on these. Neutrals first. One thing I picked up when you're doing wiring, always leave your lives to last, because that way if somebody switches the power, well obviously I'm no incomer, but if somebody switches the power on when you're turned your back, something's not live. So always leave your lives to last. Little tip, But there you go. Right, start the neutrals and then we'll see how we get on with that. Right, moving along. Fan, and fan is now wired. So the neutrals come down into here, the 12 volts, the lives to here, in both fans. The neutral then comes down to the, comes across down into the bus bar, neutral bus bar. The live doesn't come from here yet. Where the live comes from, it comes from the input out up to a smaller bus bar, which will then come back out there and into this contactor, and then the main contactor will come out, down, right, and pick up its feed from the main incoming bus bar. Bit complicated, but this way I can, when I turn the panel off at the switch, these de-energize and everything shuts down. Same when you hit this, the emergency stop switch, everything shuts down, board goes, that's it, gone. Hence why the contactors, because you don't want to be turning it off like I did when I didn't wire the panel correctly. You could still have stuff, you could turn a switch and something would come on, which is not what you want. So looks a bit of a mess, but once it's all tidied up and cable tied down, it will look a lot neater, and probably will cable tie at corners like this, maybe not, just loosely, just to see that, just loosely, just to group them together, not tight, just enough to hold them, that's all it needs. So yeah, it is coming along. So as we say, these are ready to rock and roll. So we next need to put the switches. We need to run lives, neutrals. Neutrals can loop to the 3 switches, and then the lives will come down through the switch and up into the light. So come down, in, out to the light. So that's the way it'll work on all them. And then we'll pick up and we'll start doing our feeds for these and these here. So it's gonna take a while, been at it, must be nearly 2 hours, and that's as far as I've got. So yeah, a lot of work to do, but I'll crack on and see you in a bit. Okay. Oh, look at that for spaghetti junction. So pump 1, 2 and 3, as you can see. So we have our idiot lights to say when the pump's on. You notice there's 2 switches. Well, pump's a 12 volt and the lights are 230 volt. So 230 volt on that side, and then 12 volt on this, switching on this side, which is quite handy. All wired up through here. This mess, it will be all neat and tidy, don't worry. It's just we're in the wiring stage. But anyway, we're getting there. So pumps, 12 volt pumps are wired here. I need to run 12 volt power from here still. Or do I actually? Yes, I do. Let me see. Yes, I need to run 12 volt power for the HLT. The boil pot, as you remember, boil pot, I converted, so it has its own 12 volt power supply, which saves me. But that's where we're at. As you can see, I have tails here for pump 1 and 2 for 12 volt. So that's only a matter of putting a connection down here, a couple of bullet connections, and shortening the leads a little bit. So I can be able to put them here, and with a sticky cable tie base, and then I'll go out one of these holes here, whichever one it is. So yeah, we are getting there. What are we at now? I think we need to get onto this. Is going to be the most wires, which is the 3 PIDs. Well, the mash tun is only power and the thermocouple, and obviously the HLT and the boil pot. Those two is obviously power and running signal cables to the SSRs. So let's get stuck in. See if I can set you up. You can watch me do a bit of wiring, hopefully without killing anybody. We now have the 3 PIDs wired. We have the idiot lights wired for the turning on and off of the elements manually. We now have the signal wires for the SSRs connected. So we're getting on rightly. We're now looking at time clock, the meter, obviously on switch, emergency stop, light. As you can see, things have moved on. It's now on the wall, and front is all tidy. Just got the labels to put on the outside, but we'll get a wee look inside to see where I've got to and how tidy it looks in there ish. Okay, hang on to turn you around. So as you can see, just got a bit of glue residue from the masking tape that was a real bitch to get off. So that's now just needs a wee tidy up, and we have everything on. Right, as you can see, we now have the on switch, emergency stop, and on light wired, the volt and amp meter, time clock, element switches, and PIDs. Fan mounted onto the controller for the element, pump switches and lights. Only thing I still have to wire, as you can see here, is the controller, but it's not until I noticed I had to bend this yeah, had to bend this out of the way, and it's stopping me getting the wires in. So this is going to have to be trimmed somehow. As you can see up there, SSRs are wired. Mini bus bars from the contactor is wired. Main contactor. The RCBOs all neatish. Down to the transformers, and then we have our bus bar, live, neutral, and earth. Wires are now pulled up through for each of the pumps, elements, and probes. Main incomer, sensor put round it. Don't know if that's going to work or not, we'll have to see. Fans are wired here and here. Oh, this cable tie to cut. So we're getting there. So all I need to do now is wire up these first. Well, we are now fully wired, so we have our thermocouples connected. We have pumps 1, 2 and 3 connected. HLT connected. I don't know if you can see it in there. That's it there, comes up. And I go into the bottom of the, give it a light, RCBOs. So they're connected. I'll check to see if this fan works, but we'll turn it on and see what happens. So, does it go bang? Ooh, doesn't. Oh, and that's not going. It's stuck. Yes. I need to sort this fan out. Oh, we just burnt it. Not a happy bunny. Something's rubbing. Rubbing on something. Bear with me. Right, fan's running. Okay, so it's caught on something. I don't know. I think it was just catching on the frame. But fan is now running. Exhaust is running, and intake is running down there. I can feel lots of air movement, so that's good. I may even put a wee shroud to direct the air upwards, because it's blowing, probably going straight up and then getting taken out. I want it really to go up, so we'll see how it goes. Right, let's close her up, and you can look at the front lit up. I'll turn it off first. Okay, ready for the big turn on. So that's the new volts, amps, wattage used, kilowatts per hour. So if we turn on the HLT, which is full of water, which is a 3000 watt element, pulling 13.5 amps total. Voltage seems very low today. So yeah, that's a nice little feature. Works very well. The element light on. filament light on. 3 PIDs, so boil kettle, mash tun, HLT. Pump 1, pump 2, pump 3. So pump 1, 2, it's not plugged in. So the only thing left to do is give it a quick clean and stick some labels on it. Oh, and check that the time clock is working. So back in a minute. Well, there you go. Panel is now fully labelled and all finished. So she's ready to go. Get the first brew on. Looking the part. Can't wait to get to use it. Well, as you can finally see, the panel's finally finished. Glad to see that's done and dusted. Took a good chunk of the week to get it knocked out. Spent 2 or 3 hours yesterday. I've spent another 3.5 hours today. I'd say it's taken about 40-50 hours total over the course of the weeks. Looks the part, everything's working so far. Touch as much wood as I can. We'll give it a trial run probably in a couple of weeks. I've got one keg today, which is a rockin' beer, which you saw a couple of weeks back. And then I'll be brewing a beer. Don't know what beer yet, but I know I'm going to be brewing a beer, so we'll take it from there. So I'm going to bottle this, and I'll see you in a week. Good luck.